Sometimes you just gotta go with the flow. Stop and smell the roses, and enjoy the little detours in life. And the Hunter x Hunter 2011 anime series was an amazing detour. It's sad to know that the anime version is coming to an abrupt end, but we can still at least enjoy the manga version. I will say that the final episode of the series was beautiful. It had great art direction, and the confrontation between Gon and Ging was exactly what I wanted. It wasn't too overly emotional, and we finally got to get into the head of Ging a little bit more, which is what I think was probably the most interesting thing about this episode. Aside from the weird little goofy giant birds that were hanging out at the end, what was up with them, man? They were just crazy. They looked like something out of Toriko. Big chubby googly-eyed birds aside, this was still a pretty nice episode, which was also a reflection on the entire Hunter x Hunter anime series. If you wanted to see the flashbacks of all the important events that Gon was involved in, well, guess what? You're gonna get them this week. But at least they're shown when he's climbing up this massive tree, which I honestly thought was going to be one of the main struggles of this episode. He had no problem climbing up this tree. I thought they were going to pull the whole Dragon Ball or it was Goku climbing up Korin's tower. Definitely didn't happen. He gets up to the top of the tree, it's him and his dad, and they're hanging out. Now, the big thing to take away from this scene is we get to learn a little bit more about Ging, and he is certainly a man who is more about the journey and not the destination. And I think that's pretty intriguing about his character. He's not really looking for anything specific. He's looking for undiscovered adventure with great friends. And that's exactly what Gon has been doing the entire series, so this actually allows them both to bond with each other. And there's actually a scene where you can see they're talking to each other for an entire day, because it changes from day to night, and everything here just looks very beautiful. Once that theme song kicks in, that's when you realize that the episode is about to end, and so is the series, and it's very bittersweet. I do like the fact, though, that they have this little montage where they go around and they show you all the different characters, like Leario and Kurapika, who is ominously looking at the eyes of his clan members, and set to that song, it doesn't really seem to fit at all, but still, it's just nice to see them. It's also kind of strange that they had that one butler who apparently is not dead at all. I thought he was killed by Hisoka, and apparently there is a bigger plan with keeping him alive, but they're not going to get into that. This is basically just a, hey, read the manga kind of moment. I am shocked and amazed they decided not to show anything from Hisoka in the final episode. I cannot believe they would not hint at anything from this amazing villain. Not even anything from Illumi or Phantom Troop. They are keeping them completely mysterious, and in some ways, that is good. I like the fact that the series ended without teasing too much. There is this part of the episode where Ging is bringing up that there's this one part of the world that a lot of people haven't discovered, and everything that they think is just a part of their world is like just a very, very small portion. There's a large undiscovered land which hasn't even been seen yet, and there's a number of requirements to get there, and Ging hasn't reached it yet. But again, for him, it's all about the journey. He's enjoying the little detours and having a lot of fun on his grand adventure. While that doesn't really excuse him from being sort of a crappy father, it is really great just to see him and Gon together, and you really get to see how similar they are, and Gon even gets to give him his license back from Kite, so that's pretty awesome. So that's pretty much the end of the episode, so what's the rundown on the final episode of Hunter x Hunter? It was really good. It's pretty much exactly what I was expecting from the final episode. If they were going to end it anywhere, this was definitely the best time to do it. Just getting to see him interact with his father was good, and considering that was like his main goal from the beginning of the entire series, which was to see his father, mission accomplished. He's actually done that. So in a way, this is the perfect place to end, and you can just infer that things are going to be good for Gon and his father in the future. The thing is, though, there's so many other plot threads that they were never able to follow up on. There's so many other stories that they never got to finish or complete. And obviously, that's what the manga version is for. And currently, from what I've heard, the manga is on hiatus again. Even after being on hiatus for a couple years, it came back for a couple of months, and apparently the author is in bad health and he cannot continue to work on the series, and there is no telling on when it is going to return. So that is kind of a bummer for people like me who, once we finish watching this anime, I'm going to go over and start reading the manga version because I've become so attached to these characters that I must see what's going to happen to them next. I am so amped about this new world that Gon is getting ready to go into, and I pray that he brings his friends Leario and Kurapika along, because it would just bring back that old school adventure feeling that was so prevalent in the first half of the series. Another thing that I liked about this episode is just getting to see the montage shot at the end, going back to Whale Island, getting to see his family members, which we haven't seen in a very long time. The small flashback with Ging when he was a lot younger, who made him look so much like Gon, except with shorter hair. Otherwise, the best thing about this episode to me personally was the art direction. Just all the backgrounds looked really nice, especially the scene at the very end when they're hanging out at the top of the tree when it transitioned from day to night. Everything there looked really beautiful. However, it's just funny that with this beautiful scene, you have these super goofy, cartoony birds ruining every single scene. I don't hate them, but I just think that they didn't need to be there right there. But it made sense, though, because every single time they show, like, Ging and some of the old, like, stories and episodes, he would always be around, like, big monsters and stuff. I remember that one scene where he was riding on, like, a dragon or something. Why couldn't the dragon have been there? That would have been awesome. They even included the dragon in one of the intros of the show, but whatever, that's just nitpicking on my part. All I will say is the final episode was good. It was not perfect, but it's still a great end to this anime series. And even though the manga version isn't continuing and there really isn't that much to go on, I would still love to see the anime return someday, because this will be the second attempt at actually adapting the original Hunter x Hunter series. There's the one that started in 1999, and then they had multiple OVAs, and I haven't even seen all of those yet. But from what I understand, they move a lot slower than the 2011 series. And that's another thing that made this one so great. The pacing was amazing. There was no filler to be had, and every single moment was spent building up the characters, which that's the best thing about the Hunter x Hunter anime series, and manga, I guess, is really the characters. They're really relatable. You can really get into their heads. You get invested in their stories, and the action does not actually take over the actual story. There's not as much action in Hunter x Hunter as you would imagine. It's in very small and short doses. Whenever it does happen, it is very impressive, and that allows you to appreciate it all the more, but it also allows you to get more invested in the characters when they get into these life and death situations, and you care about them. You don't want them to get hurt. You don't want them to die. You don't want them to be upset when they lose loved ones. It's an interesting series, which has a really nice balancing act between being really goofy one moment and incredibly serious the next. It's got great character designs, and it's just a fantastic series in general, and it was an absolute joy to review the couple of episodes that I did for you guys. I didn't get to review the whole series. I missed like the first 90 or so. I only jumped in towards the middle of the Chimera Ant arc, and that's because I ignored Hunter x Hunter for a long time. I didn't want to watch it for a long period of time. To me, originally, it just looked really generic, and it really wasn't all that special. But because of you guys, I was able to finally look at the series, and I realized why it was so good. And it makes sense, too, because I love Yu Yu Hakusho, and that creator actually made Hunter x Hunter as well. And you can definitely see that in the character designs, and even some of the story arcs and themes of the entire show. And it's a shame that the author is ill at the moment, because I'd love to see more from this guy, because clearly he's got a pretty good head on his shoulders. To me, it was a great finale, but it wasn't a perfect episode. I think they could have cut back on the flashbacks a little bit more, and maybe they could have teased some more of the stuff for the manga later on, maybe giving us a little hint that there is a possibility that it could come back in the future. But until the manga resumes, it's sort of up in the air at the moment. So check out the final episode of Hunter x Hunter if you have not watched the series yet. I highly recommend it if you are into action anime, especially stuff like One Piece, Dragon Ball, and Naruto. I actually think it's actually a cut above all of those in terms of the characterization and the story. But that's just my opinion. Yours might differ. However, I do highly recommend this show, and I'm going to go read the manga now. I'm really freaking excited. So, final episode of Hunter x Hunter. Thank you guys for watching all of my reviews of the Hunter x Hunter episodes that I got to cover. If you want to rewatch any of them, you can check them out on a playlist on our page. And even though this is the final episode, this is not going to be the final Hunter x Hunter video I'm going to work on. I have a few special surprises in the works, some of which are some top 10 videos, even a few special in-depth movie reviews, some of which I never had a chance to talk about. Not only that, but I'll probably start reviewing the manga as well, or at least doing some discussion videos that involve them when I finally catch up. So make sure and stay tuned for those. Thank you guys again. If you liked this video, make sure and give it a thumbs up, and please tell me what you thought about the final episode of Hunter x Hunter. Did you get all choked up? Are you sad or mad about the series ending? And are you going to start reading the manga version? Please tell me with all of your comments below. And if you guys have not subscribed to our channel already, please do so. You can do that by clicking on this little button right up here. You can also follow us on Facebook and on Twitter.